Hello, Paige Hookway here from Electronic Specifier and Procurement Pro, and I've popped up to London today to say hello to Tim Carroll, who is the Global Head of Digital Business at DigiKey. So thanks very much for joining us, Tim. How are you? How was your journey over?
Wonderful journey. I popped over and it's a direct flight, so I'm caffeinated and ready to go.
Excellent. Well, it's good to see you in the UK. I think the last time I saw you was probably at the EDS Leadership Summit in Vegas. So let's start with some of the things that you guys said there. I know you described 2025 as a period of steady, measured growth, with the company aligning a little bit more closely to realistic market projections rather than some of the more, say, optimistic double-digit forecasts that we'd seen elsewhere. So now that we're coming towards the end of 2025, how has DigiKey's performance compared with those expectations that you guys set earlier in the year?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I think we did set a goal, and DigiKey always sets a goal of trying to be about double the market growth.
Yeah.
So if we think of mid-single digit growth for the market, DigiKey tends to be on the higher side of that, just given where we sit in the prototype and design space. So it's been a roller coaster. I mean, the first quarter we were probably a little worried when I saw you at an embedded world, because it was a slower, I think for everybody worldwide, slower first quarter. People adjusted to new governments and tariffs and threats of tariff. We gained momentum in the second in Q2. So we had I think probably more in line where we thought we'd start the year in Q2. And we did a lot to make sure we just got our inventory and our pricing and our marketing to like a healthy place for the current environment. We've had a fantastic second half of the year. So I think the first quarter maybe disappointed us a little bit. Second half has exceeded our expectations. If you think about just our digital business, which I run, e-commerce tends to be the prototype design engineer. We're up close to 30% in the second half of the year compared to last year, which is beyond what we had hoped and dreamed of. So we're feeling good, and we ideally that momentum carries into the production business as you get into those products hitting the mass market.
Yeah, fantastic. And let's focus on some more specific markets, because I know that data had shown there was going to be an approximate 4% growth in AI and data center markets. So I'm interested to see if those applications are continuing to lead component demand for you, or if perhaps there's other areas of growth like medical technology or industrial automation, for example.
Yeah, I think we see growth being fairly consistent across end markets. Regionally, it's very different with the tariffs, but from end markets, when you think about AI and data centers, things like power, pattern management, cable, wireless, they're strong, right? And brands that play in that space like Amphenol are seeing like meaningful double-digit growth in our portfolio. Same time, industrial automation is growing at 38%, I think, for us online in the second half of the year now.
Wow.
So there's not been a single sector. Automotive and electric vehicles are still strong. Medical, we're seeing a robust growth in that. What used to be like the hobbyist markets of your Adafruits, Raspberry Pi, or Arduinos that are SparkFuns that are now starting to move up market in terms of their complexity and having B2B applications. They're in like the high double-digit growth right now for us as those products become more varied and more suitable for more applications.
Excellent. And I know that the inventory levels appear to stabilize earlier this year. And even, you reported signs of renewed order activity, even for parts that hadn't been ordered in more than a year. Yeah. So how are you seeing inventory and order patterns evolve as the market normalizes? Is procurement behavior now more balanced than perhaps it was earlier in the year?
Yeah, I think that post-COVID hangover where companies just had too much inventory on the shelf continues to dissipate. So we think now people are at more of a historical ordering pattern. I think with the uncertainty around tariffs, we're seeing people maybe order more frequently, but less volumes. No one gets stuck. There's always hope that tariffs might go down or trade tensions ease. So I think there's been some conservatism in inventory, but the frequency has been there. And again, we're seeing it very balanced. When I talked about our growth, we've seen in our sales, the Americas online is very similar to EMEA, very similar to APAC. So we're seeing kind of balanced, measured performance. We are starting to see lead times extend a little bit, right? So we're starting to see suppliers move from 8 weeks to 10 or 12 weeks to 16 in terms of how they're performing relative to lead times, which tends to benefit DigiKey, right? We keep inventory on the shelf available for immediate shipment. So if you can't get it from your preferred source, we've got it on the shelf, we can ship the same day.
And I know when I last saw you in May at the EDS Summit, you were approaching your milestone of 1 million total customers. And I think I remember that over 300,000 of those were within the last year alone. So have you reached that milestone of 1 million customers yet?
We're close because we counted it on the beginning of the year basis. It's a full year basis.
Yeah.
As of this morning, I checked for you, we're at 900,000 customers, unique customers year to date. And we added 60,000 to that number back in October. So if it gets later in the year, it's a little harder, but we do expect that we'll be at or super close to that million customer mark as we end the year this year.
Fantastic. And what does that expanding customer base tell you about the changing profile of DigiKey customers?
Yeah, I think we continue to add more technologies, more lines. We try to be relevant to a broader universe of customers. We're seeing a lot of that growth come in Europe and Asia, where we've had tremendous market share in the Americas. We're less well known as you get further away from our home headquarters. So I think it tells us that we're not only acquiring, but we're keeping those customers as we find them in parts of the world we historically haven't been as strong in.
Fantastic. So it sounds like 2025 has shown steady progress. And naturally, there's going to be some growing curiosity about what next year will bring, particularly around the balance of AI and industrial recovery and geopolitical tensions. So what are DigiKey's forecasts or expectations for 2026?
Yeah, I think, we take a lot of input, right? We listen to economists from ECIA and other groups. We talk to a ton of customers and suppliers. I think if you put all that in a blender and you ask the CEOs of those companies and the economists, there's still there's some excitement in terms of the tailwinds, but there's some concern of the headwinds, and people are tending to be in that 4 to 6% kind of global growth for the industry next year. And again, I think DigiKey, we try to 2x that, so we hopefully be in that 10 to 12% growth, 8 to 12% growth as we go into 2026. And that's what we're planning on. So you look at our inventory planning, our staff planning, we're planning on a year very maybe similar to where we're going to end up this year in terms of maybe not getting to the end the way we hoped we would, with a lot of ups and downs and volatility, but navigating that in a way that continues to deliver the growth and delivers to customers.
Fantastic. And talking about delivering to customers, let's have a little talk about your digital first philosophy, which I know dates back to your early shift from the print catalogs to online services. And obviously today that vision is enhanced by AI and automation, not just internally, but customer facing as well. So how has your digital first strategy evolved in recent years, especially as AI and data analytics have become integral to the supply chain?
Yeah, no, it's AI is not new to us in the digital marketing space. Right? We tend to use SaaS-based tools from big providers that a lot of them have AI already built in. So if you think about the work we do of driving traffic to the website with Google, those are very dense AI tools today. In our pricing product we use called Pros, we can feed in dozens, if not hundreds of variables, and it tells us where we've got pricing too high, where we have pricing too low, and even our inventory planning. So we've been in a just gradual evolution of AI, and I think it pays off. We were meeting with Google last week, and they look at brand awareness for us, and they measure it by how many people search for the brand name DigiKey when they do a Google search. And for 2025, the amount of searches for DigiKey were higher than the total amount of searches for the next 5 largest distributors combined.
Wow.
So we've had great awareness of getting people to the website. And a lot of our focus on the tools now, how do we keep them there? How do we get people who are researching and building bombs on DigiKey to say, hey, love the parts, you've got it in stock, you can get it to me on pricing that is reasonable for me, and get it shipped same day. Let's check out. So we're really about, I think where we want to be in terms of driving that digital first traffic. We want to have that digital experience that keeps the customer in that purchasing experience for us.
And as you say, sort of digital transformation for you is ongoing, and next year seems poised to mark, another phase of intelligence and automation and community growth for DigiKey. So as you look towards 2026, how would you personally define success for DigiKey's digital business?
Yeah, I think for our digital business, success to me is what we call it frictionless, right? You don't see any of the technology in the background.
Yeah.
You don't see any of our operations in the background. Everything that happens is it's predictive, it's anticipated. We're using AI to make sure we don't show you every part we have available, but show you the parts that are probably of most interest to you. And if you're looking for order status, if you're looking for things that you don't want to email us, you don't want to call us, you want to just find a way to get that, not even look it up online, have it surface for you. So I think if we can be predictive and frictionless, we're going to be where we hope to be at the end of next year with technology.
Fantastic. And finally then, Tim, with engineers and procurement specialists and innovators all facing rapid technological change, Is there a message that you'd like to share with your global community about how DigiKey's priorities are supporting innovation and design for next year?
Yeah, I think we kind of say, hey, you keep designing, keep buying, we'll keep it simple, right? We want to take the complexity of whether it's tariff or export compliance or finding NPI, we want to take that off your worry list and really have that be something that comes with DigiKey. Just like AI comes with our tools, we want that simplicity to be the thing that DigiKey is most known for.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, and I look forward to seeing what next year brings.
We do too.
Thank you.
Paige.